Louisa Smith.
I originate from Keramat. I'm a Harvester. I'm here on behalf of myself, although I do stand as a member of the Board of Directors for the Prince Rupert Friendship House Society. I also am a Board of Director of the Indian Residential School Survivors Society. I'm a Board of Director as well for an environmental institution, the Nakila Institution of Keramat. I want to acknowledge as well the land that we stand on, the Tsimshian 9 allied tribes, as well as the Metakapa and BC for allowing us to be on their land in discussing such an important issue. I also like to acknowledge the commissioners and Mr. Opal and Gary Coons, the RCMP, I listened a bit to some of the presentations, listened to possible reasons for the incidences on the Highway of Tears. I'm a survivor of the residential school system, and I know that it's more than poverty that affects our people. It's more than geography, that there's no public transportation. And I don't think that it's a cultural norm that people hitchhike. It's a personal one. First Nations history has not been a positive one for us. It's been very hurtful. And as a result of the many traumas of our contact with the dominant race, things have transpired to a place where we've lost an awful lot of who we are as First Nations people. It's more than mistrust toward the RCMP, toward the Ministry of Child and Family, toward government, toward churches. And even though the government, the churches, and the RCMP have made their apology toward First Nations people, I feel that the apology is not as effective as I had hoped it would be. When repentance meets forgiveness, two people should be acting on both ends of that spectrum. And it takes an awful lot for me to forgive some of the things that I have experienced under the hands of many of these people I just mentioned. The government and the churches who work hand in hand with the residential school legacy. And in doing that, they wanted to break the First Nations because we were so strong, community-minded people. We were not individuals. We did things in a community way. And one way to break that bond was for the government to take away First Nations children. I was one of those children. Just going on to 6 years old and not going home for 4 years. And under the hands of the church personnel, I experienced much abuse. All the abuses that were mentioned. Physical, verbal, emotional. And the most horrendous of all was the sexual abuse. Judge Hogarth said in his statement that these institutions were nothing more than institutions for pedophilia. And the government said that they were going to kill the Indian and save the man. All the values in our culture were outlawed. And as a result of that, most of our people have lost their way, lost their values. Instead, we were bombarded with all the different abuses, and those were brought home to the community. And our community still suffers those learned experiences to this day. It is my hope that we can have education across the spectrum of all those who work in the field, like the RCMP, the teachers, the MCFD, the social welfare, the courts, and those who handle the people who are incarcerated, that they understand fully the history of First Nations people, so that they may have some compassion in their hearts to understand why and how First Nations people are trying to anesthetize their pain through drugs and alcohol. This is not who we are as First Nations people. A lot of people are wanting to get rid of the pain by trying to forget it. And for our people, that we need to look at the history and understand that that's not who we are. That we are worthy people, worthy of respect for ourselves and for other people, and the environment that we live in. The lady who talked on the transition society, that there are two issues that we're dealing with. The East Side, where there's a mixture of an ethnic mixture of those who were murdered, all women. And the Highway of Tears, the majority are First Nations people. And if we look at history, how women have been treated, and how things that have happened to First Nations women have been swept under the rug, as if we were animals. And incidentally, that's exactly what the government termed First Nations people, the animals. We are human beings. We have the same color blood running through each one of our veins, regardless of what ethnic group we belong to. Our skin color may be different, but that doesn't change the fact that we need to have some understanding of each other and not to try to change who you are because of the color of your skin. That we need to respect each other. That we need to acknowledge every one of our gifts of who we are as individuals. And so it is my hope that this inquiry will do justice to all those missing women that are in question. That it is not going to be a booklet that's going to sit on the shelves collecting dust. I hope that this inquiry is going to do justice for those that have been murdered. When people talk about the marginalized women in our area, if we look at the women, or any person for that matter, and ask ourselves, what is their story? What has happened to them that has wounded their spirit so much? What are they trying to anesthetize? What are they trying to drown? And it is our work to help them find their way out of that dark place so that they may walk into the light. And to know that they are worthy people. And that we may be able to heal our own woundedness, no matter who we are. That we need to reteach our children our parenting skills that we lost. Reteaching our values of compassion, respect for all living things, including ourselves. My sincere condolences to the family, those who have been affected by the murder on the highway of tears. Until this is solved, there is no closure for the family that have been left behind. So I lift my hands up to the Commission. I put my hands together in prayer that what you gather will help in solving the murdered people, not only on the highway of tears, but the east side in Vancouver. And that the people responsible, and I can't help thinking that they are pedophiles, that justice will be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Louisa. Monica?
I'm a local resident of Prince Rupert, and I'm a single mom. I have used some of the services in the community, such as the transition house. And I am very aware of the abuse that is going on in the community because I do see it firsthand. Sometimes I see it when I walk down the street, sometimes I see it when I look off of my balcony. And really my only comment is that I feel that to answer your questions that you're asking at the start of all this, I feel that, you know, funding for jobs, particularly for overstressed police officers and counselors that are just having a huge amount of work. I think, you know, more job creation is something that would probably really alleviate the situation because, you know, I know myself as a single mom. I've been, you know, home with my daughter and going back into the workforce now. But I look at the, you know, police officers, counselors, nurses, physicians, you know, and I just have to ask myself, is there really enough money that's being given to support, you know, this cause? And I feel that that's a really, I don't want to make it into an issue, but I would say that if there was one thing that would probably really, you know, help the situation would be more funding, you know, and particularly things like, you know, transit and, you know, safety surrounding transit would seem like a really wise thing to help prevent this from happening. And I noticed that in the start you were saying that the prevention was the key, and I would agree with that. I would say that prevention is a very important thing because if you can, you know, reach out to someone and say, you know, don't get on that highway in the first place. You know, if you just had that knowledge and you just had another way to get to where you needed to go, whether, even if it was to get, you know, narcotics, or whether it was to just go make money, or just, you know, that kind of frame of mind, like just getting up and getting somewhere. You know, I mean, just providing a safe route, you know, or having enough know-how just to say, you know, that person on the highway, that's not my friend, you know, that's not somebody that I know. And, you know, I think that stopping it before the situation even occurs would really be important, you know, like a key to kind of closing that door for that predator that's out there, because, you know, there are predators out there, and the numbers and the data, you know, are overwhelming. I mean, it's not just one person, you know, it's, I mean, is there really even a total? And I would think that that prevention would probably, you know, be the most important thing. I mean, I just dread the fact, you know, that my daughter's going to be out there walking down the street. I mean, I watch my son walking downtown from my balcony when he goes to the mall because that parking lot there is, you know, to me, it's treachery. The highway is just like, to me, that's a war zone, you know. It's something that, is of great concern, and you know, I certainly hope that someone recognizes the need for monies in this, you know, this situation, and you know, hopefully someone will really recognize that data, whether it's in Victoria or, you know, in Ottawa, and they'll say, you know, this is a really important thing, and they'll just slam that door shut. And then, you know, that predator that's out there, you know, he's not going to have a chance, because, you know, then we as a community, or as linked communities, we'll have stopped the problem, like, completely, and it would, our streets would be safe again. And I think that's what a lot of parents, because I am a single parent, I think a lot of parents miss those days when our kids could go outside and just play on the street, or, you know, even go out in the woods or playgrounds without being concerned about, you know, being carried away forever, basically. So I hope that somebody with a position or in a position, you know, to allocate would, you know, consider that as something that's important, because I feel that, you know, I mean, it affects everybody. And, you know, I mean, it's terrible to imagine it, you know, happening to your own daughter. And I think that as a concerned member of Prince Rupert, an average citizen, so to speak, I would say that the numbers are, you know, a big indication that that this heartfelt, sensitive, and, you know, painful journey will end, and that door will finally close. Yes.
Are you affiliated with Transition?
What do you mean by that, sir?
Well, are you affiliated with Transition House?
Myself?
Yeah.
Not at this time, no.
Have you in the past given...
I have never been employed by the Transition House,
okay.
no.
Okay, well then...
Okay, well, thank you, that's it.